So if you've watched my channel for a while now, you know that back in the day, I used to explore abandoned buildings a lot. I was really into it at one point in my life. I'd say from like the ages of like 16 to like 19. I was really into just like finding abandoned buildings in my city and exploring them. Something about like seeing a building all decayed and old and, you know, falling apart. For some reason, it interested me. Honestly, it still does. I just don't do it as much now because if I get caught, the cops are probably gonna be like, bro, you're in your 20s. Like, you probably shouldn't be doing this. We're gonna give you a trespassing charge. So I tend to avoid it. But, you know, sometimes if I find a building that's like, you know, really abandoned and no one really looks after it, like no security or anything, sometimes I'll check it out. But yeah, back in the day, I was really into that. And I'm sure a lot of you have seen those old videos. Well, there's a couple story times from that era that I haven't told yet. And this one in specific is one of the craziest. And also, it's kind of nice because it's about me not being stupid for once. What happened in this story time isn't nice, obviously. But, you know, it was nice that for once I wasn't the one screwing up. But I'm going to tell you about it today. So today's story time all takes place back when I was 17 years old. Now at this point, my YouTube channel was blowing up. It had become my full-time career. I wasn't in school anymore. Life was good. Life was great. I was hanging out with my friends like every day. We were exploring, having a good time, you know, checking out abandoned places, just having fun, man, being kids, right? And there was this one building in specific in my hometown that I always wanted to go to. And today was the day that we were going to finally go to it. Now, this building was an abandoned factory. I don't know what they made in this factory back in the day because it had been abandoned for a very long time, but I know that it was a big-ass building, and I was very excited to go check it out. And from what I was told around the community of like people that I know that have been there, they all told me that like there was no security. It was a very safe place to go explore, and I was excited because it was huge, right? So yeah, on this day at about 4:30, 5 p.m., my friend came to my house. Well, I should say friends. It was a car full of people. They picked me up. And we started going to this building. Now, upon arriving there, I realized very quickly this place was a lot bigger than I anticipated. I knew it was going to be big, but this place was huge. And I wish I fucking filmed it, man. This whole story would be so much better if I had footage with it. But next time, if I ever go back, I promise I'll film it. But yeah, we were at this building, we get there, and it's huge. And it wasn't even just one building, actually. So there was the main building, which was like the big 3-story factory building. Then there was a little building to the right of it. And I don't know what it was used for back in the day, but it was very small, and it was like a little 2-floor building, very small. I don't know what it was, but then to the right, like pretty far away, there was a big smokestack that connected to the main building. I'm assuming it had something to do with, you know, the fact that it was a factory. But yeah, huge, cool place, right? So we decided as a group to split up, which like if you've ever seen a movie, splitting up when you're in a group is never a good idea. But yeah, there was 5 of us. We decided that 2 of us were going to go into the small building, and then 3 of us were going to go into the factory, big building, explore it, and then we'd all meet up at the end and kind of show each other the coolest parts of each since we had been in there and already went through it, right? Oh, and then after that, we were going to go check out the big smokestack part of the building. So yeah, that was the plan, right? So we started with the big factory building, me and my 2 friends, and the other 2 went to the small one. And everything was good. Everything was great. It was a big-ass building, really cool, abandoned, creepy, you know, everything you would expect from an abandoned building, right? Nothing really too crazy. And yeah, we explored the basement, then we explored the first floor, the second, the third, and then finally, the last part of the exploration of this big building was the roof. And we got up there. It was really cool, had a sweet view of the city. I'm not a fan of heights, so I didn't really like being up here that much, but, you know, it was a part of the journey, so I just stuck with it because my friends wanted to see it. And then my one friend, we'll just call this friend Cody, okay? Cody was the one that always had to take things too far. Cody goes, yo, Austin, get a photo of me. And he proceeds to stand up on the ledge of this roof over the edge, right? Now, I just want to like make this very clear. This ledge that he was standing on was very thin. There wasn't a lot of room to put your feet. It had rained earlier, so it was kind of wet. Like, it was just a bunch of factors at play that made me think this is a fucking terrible idea. So I told Cody, I'm like, yo, you should step down from there. Like, that's not good. Don't do that. And he starts calling me a pussy. He's like, bro, I've done this shit a million times at other buildings. Like, I'm good. Trust me. I have good balance. I took gymnastics my whole life. I know what I'm doing, right? He's just basically telling me that I'm, you know, worrying over nothing. And even my other homie looked at me like, yo, Cody's fucking stupid for that. But anyway, I go to take the photo, right? Because the faster I take this fucking photo, the faster Cody will step down and we can leave and, you know, he'll be safe and not able to fall off a building, right? So I'm going to take the picture, and right as I'm about to hit the button to take the fucking photo, Cody goes, hold on, I have a better pose. and he goes to take a step. He was trying to turn around so his back was facing the camera and he was outlooking the city, but he stepped incorrectly and he slipped. And it was kind of crazy because when he slipped, he like tried to catch his balance for a second and he was like waving his arms around and shit, like trying to, not fall over the edge. And it was like we were watching it happen in slow motion. And unfortunately, Cody lost the battle. He lost his balance and he slipped over the edge. And I remember he yelled, he goes, "Fuck!" And me and my friend looked at each other like, "Oh shit!" And my friend starts taking off towards the edge of the building to watch Cody fall and see if he, and me, I start booking it down the stairs as fast as I can to get to the bottom of the building while simultaneously pulling up on my phone and dialing 911 and calling an ambulance because I didn't know what condition I was about to see Cody in. I didn't know if he was going to be conscious, alive, if he was going to have a couple broken bones. I knew he was going to have something broken. He fell off a fucking roof of a factory. This is not the kind of fall that like you walk away from unscathed. Like he was going to have serious injuries 99.9%, right? Like that was the chance. So I'm running down these stairs. I'm on the phone with the cops telling them like, "Hey, my friend just fell off a building. Like I'm running down the stairs now. Like please get here. Here's the address." And they're asking me all these questions, right? And I get to the bottom of the stairs. I run outside and I see Cody laying flat on the ground, like hyperventilating. He looked like he was in bad shape. But the good news was he was breathing and he was conscious. So I ran up to him and I was like, "Yo, there's an ambulance on the way. Like, what's hurting, man? Like, what'd you fall on?" Because I didn't see him fall. And my friend's yelling above me from the roof up there. He's like, "Yo, is he good?" And I look up and I'm like, "What do you think? He's not good." So I look back down and I'm like, "Cody, what'd you land on? I didn't see you fall. Like, what'd you land on?" And he can barely talk. He's like, my legs. And he's pointing to his legs and he's like grabbing them and he's in pain, right? Now, obviously, I'm sure him landing on his legs really hurt, and I'm sure he had multiple broken bones. But on the other hand, I'm glad that he did, because if he would have landed on his head, I wouldn't be talking to Cody. Cody probably would have been on the other side by now. Yeah, I don't want to sound dark here, but that's just the truth. So I just sit with him, and my other friend runs down from the roof so like he can be there with him, and then my other friends came from the smaller buildings, we called them, and we're all just surrounding Cody, like telling him he's going to be okay, that he was a champion, that we couldn't believe that he was like in the shape that he was after taking a fall that high. And just like trying to encourage him, because we all know how shitty he must have felt. But the ambulance got there. They evaluated him. They put him on a stretcher. We had told them what happened. And next thing we know, we're on the way to the hospital. I didn't ride with them in the ambulance. They rode separately. We all drove there. And we got there. Forgot to mention on the way there, we called Cody's family because obviously they needed to know. So before we knew it, his mom and his dad were there as well and his sister. And they had to put Cody into like emergency surgery. So we were just waiting and waiting and waiting for hours and just didn't hear anything for the longest time. And it got to the point where his family, Cody's family, like his mom and dad, told us to leave. They were like, "Guys, this could be an all-night thing. Like just go home. We'll call you as soon as we know something." And we're like, "Are you sure?" And they were like, "Yeah." So we left and we just like hung out for a little bit. Like we got some food at some diner. And after that, we all just went home. Like we all just got, dropped off and I was just in my house, like waiting to hear something. I stayed up the whole night pretty much. I did not sleep. And I got a text at about 6 a.m. from Cody's mom telling me that he was awake and responsive and talking to them, but he was obviously injured. Now after this, I called her and she gave me a rundown of like his injuries. I don't remember every single one because I'm not going to lie. There was a lot, okay? Cody fucked up a lot of shit, all right? But I remember his legs were fucked. He broke his legs. I believe a part of his spine was fractured, and he was going to potentially have nerve damage in some areas, and he was going to have to be in a wheelchair. They didn't know how long. It could either be permanent or, until he was completed with physical therapy and they could maybe get his legs to work again. But it was fucked, man. Like, he was very injured. But the good news was, and it kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier, because he landed the way he did, he didn't, smash his head. He was intact, like mentally. He could eat on his own. He could breathe on his own. He was injured very badly, but not to the point where we lost Cody. You know what I mean? We were all very happy that he was alive and, conscious and speaking. And they even put him on the phone later on that day. He couldn't talk when I talked to his mom, but later on that day, they called me and put him on the phone. And I got to talk to him and we were cracking jokes and shit. He was pretty messed up on the pain meds, but he was doing okay, right? Now, I don't remember the exact amount of time it took for him to recover, but he made a pretty much full recovery. He still has like nerve issues like in his back he's told me about. And like there's certain areas where he can't really feel shit. But for the most part, he is recovered. He was in a wheelchair for a super long time. Not sure how long specifically, but it was over half a year. I remember that. But through like the incredible physical therapist that he was able to like make a recovery. So he can walk, he can run, he can swim, he can work out and stuff. Like he is as recovered as you can be after taking a fall off of a building. And yeah, man, I just think about this all the time and just how lucky he got. A funny little detail I forgot to leave out is the first time I hung out with Cody after this had happened, like a couple weeks later, I went to his house to see him. One of the first things he said to me when we were sitting on the couch was, "Bro, you were right. That was a stupid idea." And we just started laughing our asses off. And I'm like, bro, at least you're still here with us. That's all that matters. But yeah, man, that is the story of how a friend of ours fell off a building while we were exploring it. Yeah, man, crazy. Obviously, moral of the story is here, do not do what Cody did. Don't do what any of us were doing, man. Stay away from the creepy abandoned buildings, because those things are dangerous. That's all I gotta say. Let my stupid mistakes entertain you, but don't go and repeat them. I hope you guys enjoyed the story time, though. If you did, please leave a like on the video. I'd really appreciate it. Feel free to leave your story times in the comments down below, and subscribe if you're new. I will see you all later. Peace. Always stay devoted, mama knew I'd be a star. Now I'm steady flowing.